Hey guys, this is Jay Calderon with Jay Unboxing, giving you my immediate reaction to the Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley fight and the event overall. Now before we get into the main event, I'm going to get a quick rundown of the results in general, which took place in Cleveland, Ohio, and of course aired live on SHOWTIME pay-per-view. Opening up the telecast, we had junior middleweight Charles Conwell stop previously unbeaten Juan Carlos Rubio in the third frame, improving his record to 16-0 with 12 KOs. Following that up, we had potential future opponent for Jake Paul, Tommy Fury, younger brother, of course, of heavyweight champion Tyson Fury, remain unbeaten with a 4-round decision over Anthony Taylor. Sloppy contest with both kind of showing so many flaws, and the height disparity as well as the kind of skills that both were bringing into the ring made the fight a very unattractive affair to some degree, but Fury was doing enough, of course, to get the job done and won a rightful decision. And in a junior welterweight clash, we had unbeaten Montana Love stop former titleist Ivan Baranchyk after 7 rounds of action. Ivan was dropped multiple times, and the corner waved off the contest after he barely survived the 7th. Have a little bit more on that, of course, in a little bit here. Then we had a heavyweight hopeful Daniel Dubois make his U.S. debut, stopping Giuseppe Cosimano, dropping him 3 times in the first round before the fight was waved off. Heavyweight more or less dominated every second of the very brief encounter, and actually, in some sense, he actually did a good thing by taking a decent shot in return against a guy who has some decent stoppages in terms of his just overall record, but was still able to control the frame, blitz him out of there, and, make a decent impression there, of course, for his American debut. In the co-featured bout of the evening, we had featherweight champion of the world in regards to the female divisions, Amanda Serrano, outbox and outfight her Mexican counterpart, Yamaleth Mercado, over 10 rounds. Dominant performance that almost earned the stoppage, win a couple of times, and again, we'll get more into Serrano a little bit here later on. And then in the main event, YouTuber Jake Paul earned a split decision over former MMA champion Tyron Woodley, winning with cards of 77, 75, and 78, 74 in his favor. Woodley did enough to impress one judge, winning 77-75 on that card. Now, getting into that main event, it was a very fun main event, to be honest with you. You can say what you want, but entertainment comes in all shapes and sizes. And what I look for when I'm looking into a fight, when I'm trying to either predict it, when I'm trying to enjoy it, and then overall when I'm just trying to kind of look back on the experience, all I'm really looking for is these two things. Was it entertaining? And was it, relatively speaking, evenly contested? Again, or at the very least, could it have been? In other words, at least on paper, was it? This was a, relatively speaking, even money fight. That could have gone either way if this guy or that guy had done a little bit more here, a little bit more there. It was just one of those things where, for as much as it is a bit of a circus act by all means, it was still an entertaining fight in that respect, and it was still a close one. It gave me the two things that I'm looking for. The scoring of this fight is kind of indicative of what I mean here. It was a bit all over the place, but that befits the fight. That befits the entire event. Paul has his moments. Woodley shows his, resolve as well. And, he even landed a big shot, kind of tagged him, and it really put him into the ropes, potentially ropes that held him up, it might have seemed. But in any event, regardless, you look at this and say, well, it was entertaining. It was relatively evenly contested. Regardless of how you get there, they both have about the same to offer boxing, with maybe the younger, fresher Paul being just a little bit more in kind of his prime and having a better chance of winning the fight, which is, to some degree what you could expect from this fight. Now, of course, I picked Woodley to win by mid-fight stoppage, and he almost got that job done, but the fact of the matter is, it was a very close fight, and that's all you can ask for. If you expected this to be anything more, or some sort of beautiful masterclass, or some war of a Morales-Barrera type, I'm sorry, you're the flawed one here, because you're going into something expecting something you have no right to expect. Was it ragged at times? Did he get wild? Did, Woodley expose some what should be considered obvious flaws? Yes, all the way around. But he showed more than many would have given him credit for being able to show, than many quote-unquote real fighters have shown at times in the past as well. After the fight, they had their little interaction. Really, Paul was trying to be a little more respectful, but Woodley was trying to run it back, and they had made a pre-fight bet that the loser had to get the other's name is the best tattooed on their body, and Woodley said he was willing to do it if it meant they could actually run the fight back. So whether or not any of that happens, needless to say, very interesting fight all around. Event was fun, like I said, to watch overall, and to be honest, it was a very well put together event. Just the atmosphere, the love that Serrano was being given, just everything, Now, in terms of Jake himself, he looked like he was trying to take some time off after this fight. I think when you're not, having it drilled into your head since you're a child, that boxing is all you should know and all you should do, you can face burnout when you're effectively trying to accomplish a singular goal the way that he has been for the last 18 to 24 months, and he might not necessarily be, a lifer in terms of boxing, but I give him still a tremendous deal of credit for having the, balls to really do what he's doing. Could be burnout, could just want some time off, could just try to, make people want him a little bit more and kind of give him a less is more approach for the next couple months until another fight comes to fruition. And again, before I move on here, I want to say credit to Woodley. He did not look like a boxer. He did have some tremendous flaws. He had some areas where he could have capitalized had he known better. But in the end, he showed up. He did not embarrass himself. He made it a competitive, compelling fight to watch again for what it was. So kudos to him for that, because again, didn't have to do it. And yes, payday's help, of course, but he showed himself to be, a very, remarkable athlete in the sense that at 39, he can completely transition to effectively a completely different sport and, do himself proud in the process. Some other takeaways here. Montana Love needed that kind of fight. He was going back and forth with Baranchik and probably winning most of the rounds on my scorecard. It wasn't an unofficial one, and I really wasn't, obviously. And I really wasn't keeping much of a, strict track of the score. But it did look like a fight he was winning. But, he was hurt. He was buzzed. He had some adversity. He was facing a guy who looked like he's been in world title fights before. And he needed that kind of fight to kind of progress his career. He's moving along really nicely, and I think that was the perfect kind of fight for him to continue that progression as a professional fighter. I also want to get to this point here that Amanda Serrano is a damn good fighter. The way she digs to the body, the way that she puts her punches together, they're very compact punches, not loopy. They're very, again, just really well thought out. She has a really solid hand speed as well as power, especially for a female fighter who, female fighters at times can be known for lacking in the power department. She's a very well-rounded, complete fighter. Would have been nice to see her get Marcato out of there, but at the same time, to her credit, Marcato definitely showed a lot of heart and resilience. A little bit annoying with the cornerman going back and forth. Always hate that. You're not fighting. Shut the hell up. However, credit to Serrano because she did do a damn fine job in that ring, and she just looked $1 million to me. Just the presentation, the overall package of it, the way that Showtime displayed her, and then, of course, her putting her skills on exhibit there was a very, very fun watch in general. And so, again, very fun fighter to watch, and hope to see her more in some big fights, even possibly down the line after unification, facing someone like a Katie Taylor. In any event, what did you think of the event as a whole? Who do you think that Jake Paul should fight next? Are you interested in watching it? Do you want to see the rematch with Woodley? What do you think about the Tommy Fury fight? Are you interested in watching Montana Love anymore? And of course, what do you think of the Amanda Serrano performance and just overall display from a very, very talented fighter? Love to hear all your thoughts, comments, so on and so forth down in the comments section below. Please be sure to like, follow, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow me on Twitter at jcalderon_JOB. You can email me at junboxing@gmail.com. And of course, please be sure to visit junboxing.com for schedule, results, betting odds, rankings, more. And as always, until next time.